Hi, I'm Stephen Budden. I work with people to reclaim their body and their power. And one reason I do that is because I think being disembodied is one of the causes of most of the problems in the world. I sort of fell into this path on accident when I broke my neck and I started all this somatic training, and I wound up at this mystical healing school in San Francisco where I spent 3 years with these shamans, these contemporary lineageless shamans, healing my neck and seeing how everything threaded together. Now I have a lot of unconventional beliefs about the body, and a lot of the beliefs I had about the body before are like thrown out the window because consciousness is so mysterious and kind of uncanny in the way it works in the body, and medicine kind of stamps all this out of you, like the way you're trained to see your body as a machine that can malfunction, and then you treat the various parts with these pharmaceuticals or these surgeries. That's all not aligned with what I've noticed. Now there are times you can use those tools for emergencies and such when they can be supportive, probably, and they should of course be your last resort instead of your first. So we're kind of trained to make those our first, and that's not empowering or effective. Now I had a lot of powerful and beautiful experiences working with clients, and the system I developed is called the Philomela Protocol. Philomela is a myth, and it's come to mean nightingale, and the word is meaningful to me because when I woke up to life, I heard this bird song, and that's how I knew that I was different. So I want that for you. Now this is like a very high-end engagement where anything between you and the barriers to you in life get torn down, like torn asunder. And Rumi phrases the barriers that you've built up against love. We tear those down. That's your one task. So don't forget, this is the way to enlightenment. This is a way to some of the enlightenment traditions. I think this is a new vista that's available to us now, like as the energetic consciousness of the earth shifts and the frequencies rise and humans are evolving and all of this. Before, humans were very rooted in the tribal sense on the earth, and then we kind of moved up the scales, and then they were very lofty and intellectual, and humans are kind of the bridge between those two worlds. If you look at the cross in the Christian and Native American and every culture, symbolically it's the cross is like the meeting place between these two worlds, and humans are the bridge between Lucifer and Ahriman. That's where the Christ point, what the Christ represents, lives, the solar logos, the center. The solar plexus in the human body is this ganglia of nerves, and the chakras operate on a principle kind of like fiber optic light, and they are the receivers of energies. So we're working to open those up. That's part of the body knowledge that I've uncovered through experience, and the body being a vehicle for gathering experience, that's what I encourage you to do as well. The Philomela Protocol will wake you up to life in a new way, and not through telling you things merely, through telling you strategies, through telling you things verbally that will, when you're using language or thought in a way that disconnects you from what's most real. I tend to point that out. I do this in some of my other protocols and systems and models as well. I have the Bloom model and the Rapture Protocol. And there are a few simple language tweaks. For instance, if you say, wherever you're clenching to something that you think is you, that you think is like your belief, that's what's disempowering you from healing, because you're holding on to that thing so tightly that you cannot heal. So we need to kind of release some of those. Some of the examples are using, if you use but, like I'm moving forward in life, but I can't seem to blah, 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 blah. Then the but is locking you in. Likewise, if you're saying my disease, I have this disease, that word have is locking you in. You don't have a disease. You notice certain symptoms in certain moments, and not even right now. You notice certain symptoms in certain moments in the past. So I often say, like, in the past I noticed this or that. Two simple ways to free you up, so that you can experience what's right in front of you without these tethers to the past. It's the the mistaken notion that the past does equal the future, that the human mind gets caught up in. And notice I'm saying the mind instead of my mind. People get all up in arms about that because they're like, this is my mind. And yes and no. The mind is a human collective, conscious and unconscious kind of mosaic that enters into your experience sometimes. You have thoughts that other humans have had for thousands of years. You think, why are my thoughts so like dark or depressing or disempowering? Because they're not yours. These are the human struggles that you are taking part in. This is a human experiment. You are human. So we're reinventing what it means to be human, okay? It's a beautiful and empowering process. It gives meaning to your life. You're going to be richly rewarded. The place to start in this work is through the Love of Life Challenge. I'll put a link below. Love of Life will break down some of these core myths and introduce you to new ways of being that will give you an empowering framework for going forward and falling in love with life again. That's a bold promise to do in 5 days. There it is. That's what we're going to do. And then you move through the sequences and you come, if you're destined, to the Philomela protocol, and if you need it, which, you know, coming in touch with your body is the most mystical and powerful thing that's happened to me. It's as spiritual as you can get, though we learn there's spiritual and earthly dichotomy in the bodies, like in the more mundane earthly realm. And in my experience, if you go into the somatic spaces in a profound way, you are awakened. You can be awakened. All the knowledge, all the unconscious, the bridge to the collective unconscious is there. The challenge is some of your body bridges, these conduits, have been blocked. They're blocked by trauma. They're blocked by inconsistent thought patterns. They're blocked from addictive patterns that arise out of that and keep like nourishing the block. That's why sometimes in my marketing I say like slay your demons or slay your dragons. That's literally and metaphorically what these are. So there are these attachments that come from excess and these attachments that come from deficiency, yin and yang in the classic sense, and then there's the I Ching kind of trigram that represents some of these imbalances as well, and we work through all of that. You can see I've combed through many ancient traditions, Sufik and Christian and Buddhist and others, to find parallels, because I think humans knew a lot at earlier times and they didn't have certain awareness, or that awareness wasn't yet free to spread because we hadn't evolved in such a way, and now we are free to do some of those things. Like Steiner said, the mystery of Golgotha, or the Christ story, was not understood by early church fathers, though they sometimes came uncannily close. And now we actually have the opportunity to understand the meaning of some of those stories and parables and that whole framework of like that redemption song. So welcome, I'm Stephen Budden. I hope some of these tips were helpful to you. I meant to go more into how the body consciousness works. And one example is the knees. Let's just look at the knees. People have you'll say you have bad knees or a bad back. Well, when really you're ignoring the messages from your body, and the messages from your body will keep getting louder and louder and louder until you can't ignore them. People will kind of ameliorate that with some sort of surgery or pain meds or something, and that just compounds the issue. Then you're older when you come back to this story, this consciousness hero's journey, when you're older and you have less energy and less vitality, so it makes it more difficult. So the left side of the body is feminine, the right side is masculine. Sometimes it can be cross-wired, it's usually not. This is not a conversation about gender necessarily. There's a spectrum between masculine and feminine. Every human falls on it. Usually you can glance at someone's knees, or I can, and see like where they are on that spectrum, because one's all locked and and there's like a certain twist or a relationship with that side that is either empowering or disempowering. Sometimes like the masculine framework has been pulled out. Like I worked with one client on her feet, and the memory on the left side, a missing mother, on the right side, a missing father. So the foundations of our being happen in our feet, and then it comes up through the knees. The knees are about like genuflection, flexibility, being able to kind of roll with what comes, and they need to be soft for you to be in flow. This is one of the body bridges that moves the energy all the way up this conduit, like the cross, connecting heaven and earth. That's you, that's your destiny. Like once you fulfill that conduit, you can do what you came here to do in the world, and you can choose from a selection of timelines. And for convenience, I say there are 12. And that's why in my logo you'll see those 12 spores of the dandelion, because you're kind of gathering all those pieces into this experience and choosing the highest path and aligning to that in all the ways you can. And that's what we do. That's what we do. So welcome to this beautiful journey. I'll include a few links in the comments. Let me know if you have questions. I will see you again soon. Thank you.